Hello, my name is Luis Anthony Ast, the Video Math Tutor, and this is a special video about how to really use your TI-84 graphing calculator. First thing you need to do is actually get your hands on a graphing calculator. And how do you do that? Well, one of the easiest places to do is just order it online at the TI.com website. Again, it's right there listed. You can also go to your school bookstore. You can go to any office supply store. They'll have them too. And just buy one. Now, if you already have a graphing calculator, let's say a TI-83, 83 Plus, if you have a TI-84 but it's not the silver edition, that's fine. I recommend the silver edition. Why? Well, I've also mentioned this in my other videos in the getting started areas. It's just, I think, just the best calculator there is. It's user-friendly. It's got tons of memory. It's very, very fast. It's just easy to use, and I'll make it even easier. That's my job. So let's get started. How do we open it? You can try your teeth, you can try to fry out your hands. It's not going to work. I don't recommend knives. I don't recommend X-Acto knives. A regular pair of scissors just won't cut it. Get it? Never mind. One thing comes to mind though. No, I can imagine the lawyers at Texas are going to be, giving me calls if I tell people to do that. So no, don't do that. Okay, don't go there. Seriously, what you would need to do is just get a pair of kitchen utility scissors. They're a little bit bigger, they're a little bit thicker, more heavy duty. They're also called gourmet shears, or just kitchen shears. And just use that to open up the package. Now, you've opened up the package. What's the deal now? Well, make sure you get the batteries in here. You just go to the back of the compartment and just kind of open it right here, this part, and just put the batteries inside. Okay. Make sure they're all fresh batteries and they're all the same type. And then just go ahead and there's like little hinges right here, and then just kind of like put those in there like that, and it just snaps back in. Pretty neat, huh? All right, this is the case the calculator comes in. It's very easy to open and close. Some of the older models, it's harder to open. You have to go, get up. And really, you're not supposed to do that. What you should do, if you do have an older model, it's easy to open. A little tip from the tutor here. Just grab it like this, okay? And you would open it like that. You see that? Just go. So instead of grabbing from here and in here, try to yank it open like that. Again, that doesn't apply to these calculators. It's for like the older models. All right, so we got it open, and I always recommend just put it right back in there, okay? Batteries are in. Next thing we need to do is to just turn it on. Now the on key is right here on the bottom, on the lower left. It says, well, on. Okay, like I said, this thing is easy to use. Turn it on. Now, what if you don't see a little blinking cursor up here? Then what? Well, sometimes, especially again with older calculators, may apply. The contrast is not set exactly right. And what I mean by contrast is that you can actually darken up the display a little bit or lighten it up depending on your lighting conditions, the angle of view that you want. Some people like to look at the calculator like this or more like that. So it just depends. So you can actually adjust that, and that's the next thing we want to talk about. To adjust the contrast, and make sure the calculator is turned on. You turn it on, you have the batteries, of course, inside of it. And let's say it's completely blank. You just don't see a thing on here, all right? Well, what can we do? Again, if you see a little blinking box in the upper left corner, you're fine. You can just move on past this part of the video. But let's say, there's a problem. What I recommend you do first is press the mode key, which is up here toward the top, mode. Why? Well, so I can actually have something on the screen. And again, if you still don't see anything, and go to like a really bright light or something, just kind of look at it really carefully. Do you see anything at all? Some kind of lettering, words or something? If so, I mean, just the contrast is just a little bit off. Now, once we've pressed the mode key, we then go to the second key. And now, listen carefully. I want you to press and hold. Just press it and but don't press too hard, okay? Don't damage this thing. Don't stab the cap. Press and hold lightly the up arrow key. See, these are the up, down, left, right arrow keys. Just press and hold, and then just wait a little bit. And then if it gets a little bit too dark, I'm going to purposely get it too dark. I'm going to go second and press the up arrow again, and it's going to get really dark. Do you see that? It's like almost like a black screen here. Overdid it. Ugh. Again, you can fine-tune the contrast setting. You go second and then press the down arrow key. And again, if you want to just fine-tune, you go second down, second down, second down. And if you notice a little bit in the upper right corner, just momentarily you'll see little numbers. Those are like the contrast settings. So once you get at a really nice setting, all right, and you see the numbers here, everything looks fine, the letters. Well, I don't want to keep seeing the screen like this. What can we do? One of the most important keys in your calculator is called the clear key. Okay, so when you want to be a little more clear, like in my head, you're kind of cluttered and fuzzy, and my life is not good. Everything's in a fog. What can I do? I'll press the clear key. I press the and everything seems clear now in my head. Okay, now that doesn't do that, but it will at least clear the display screen. Okay? So once that's done, we're ready to do mathematical operations. But again, I want to stress something about the clear key is usually for every mathematical operation, not always, not all of them, but for most, if I'm going to go from one example to the next, I will, well, first, of course, make sure it's turned on. So, turn it on. I won't always say turn it on. That's up to you. But I will almost always say, I press clear or just clear. So that is an indication or a hint that you need to do the same thing. Now, there's often times that you want the display to remain. So then don't press the clear key. That's simple. So now the next we want to do is talk about our number keys. To put numbers in our calculator, it's very, very easy. All you need to do is look for, well, the number keys. Okay, you have 0 and then 1 through 9. You also have what's called a decimal point, and on the lower right area of the calculator, there's a rather strange looking key. It looks like a negative sign, but there's like parentheses around it. What's that? Well, that's called the negation key. And what that does, it finds the negative of a number. It finds the opposite, the negation of a number. Now we know where the number keys are. Let's actually do some actual mathematical operations. And for that, you need the arithmetic keys and something that's called the enter key. Those are located on the right-hand side. They're in gray on the TI-84 plus Silver Edition calculator. Here, there's the division key, the multiplication key, the subtraction key, and the plus key. Now below the plus key, there's a key that says enter. What's that? Well, let's say I would like to do a math operation. Something not very extravagant. 1 plus 1. How can we do that? If I want to enter 1 plus 1 in the calculator, all you really need to do is make sure, of course, the calculator is turned on. Press the clear key to make sure it's clear. Press 1. And then press the plus key, and then 1 again. Now, if you were writing these out, you would write 1 plus 1 equals. And then, of course, it's something you can easily do in your head. The answer is 2. Well, I want the calculator to give me the 2. That is where the enter key comes in. The enter key is used to tell the calculator, I've finished entering. Yes, you know how the words are used. Entering information. It doesn't know you just want 1 plus 1. So it's your way of telling the calculator, I've finished putting information in the calculator. Now you give me an answer. So I'm going to press the enter key now. And hey, I mean, it's nothing very earth-shattering. The answer is 2, but it's a start. Let's try another example. For our next problem, I want to input the following. 2 plus 3 times 8 minus 6 equals, well, what? To do that in the calculator, we're going to do the following. Again, I'm going to clear the screen that I had previously. And let's just type it in pretty much as we see it. 2 plus 3 times 8 minus 6. And then press the Enter key to get 20. Now, I want you to be careful. There's a subtraction key, which is over here, and there's the negation key, which I talked about a little bit earlier. Don't mix up the two. They're not interchangeable. On some lower end calculator models, little tiny baby, little tiny calculators, non-graphing, it doesn't make a difference, but you gotta be careful with the most graphing calculators. I want you to also notice something else on the screen. When you press the multiplication key, on the key itself is the standard symbol. It's a cross, the times sign. But look at the screen. You see an asterisk. What happened there? What's the deal? Well, the calculator actually has letters that you can type in. You can actually type in words, characters. So the times sign looks very similar to the letter X. So the way of avoiding confusion and ambiguity, it's just tradition on computer programs and on most calculators. That's when you press the times key, you're going to get an asterisk. So that's all what that is, really. Let's do another example. Negative 8 divided by 4 equals, well, what? So now, let's go ahead and try this problem. I'm going to clear my screen. Now I'm going to press the negation key first. That's the one next to the decimal point. Negative 8 divided by 4. Now again, I finished entering the information I need. So now I can press the Enter key. That's my way of saying equals what? Tell me, Mr. Calculator. And oh yeah, I got negative 2 as an answer. Again, look at the display. Do you see anything interesting about the problem? Well, instead of a division sign, they put a forward slash. And that is used to describe division in the calculator and fractions. Negative 0.2 minus 5.7. What does that equal to? Again, press the negation key, and then 0.2, and the decimal point is on the very bottom in the center, next to the 0. Minus 5.7. And then, again, I finished typing in what I wanted, so press the Enter key. And I get negative 5.9. Again, I want you to take a moment to look carefully at your calculator screen. Look at the negation sign and the subtraction sign, the minus sign. Do you see anything interesting about them? Are they the same thing? Well, on paper, yes. If you get a pencil and write the thing out, the minus sign and the negative sign is the same thing. But again, the calculator needs to distinguish between the two. So the negation key, if you notice carefully, it's just a hair higher, just a touch, it's just a pixel higher above the subtraction key, and it's a little shorter. The subtraction key is a little bit wider. So if you look carefully, you say, oh, okay, I can see the difference between the two. Well, hopefully. Using parentheses. If you would like to use parentheses in your calculator, it's very easy. They're right above the 8 and the 9 keys. You have what's called a left parentheses or open parentheses, and you have above the 9 the closing parentheses or right parentheses. It doesn't matter if you say left, right, open, close. Those are terms I will use in my videos, not just this one, but in all of them. Let's do an example where it actually makes a difference if we have parentheses or if we don't have parentheses. So let's look at the next problem. I have a fraction here. I have, above it in the numerator I have 5 plus 3, and the denominator I have negative 3 plus 7. And I want to evaluate that. What can we do? Well, what if we just type that in, that expression I just displayed, just directly straight through the calculator, no parentheses? What's the result? Let's go ahead and try that. Make sure the calculator is turned on, press the clear key if you need to. Let's type this in. So we're going to have 5 plus 3 divided by, so the fraction bar is division. Now we type in negative, make sure it's the negation key, negative 3 plus 7. We press the enter key and the answer is 11. Now the question is, well, is that my right answer? If it was a test question, would I get this right or wrong? I mean, calculator says it's 11, so it must be true. Well, calculator just does what you tell it to do. So it's important to input the information properly in here. One of the biggest areas of mistakes that people make is with division and the lack of parentheses. So I would like to do this problem again, but now look at the original problem. If I want to put that in the calculator, this is what we're going to have to do first. You see that? I've added an extra set of parentheses for the top part in the numerator and an extra set of parentheses in the denominator. And see, and that is the problem I want to put in the calculator. So make sure there's parentheses on the top, parentheses on the bottom. When you have multiple items in the numerator and denominator, now if you just had one single number, like a 4 on the numerator, I don't need to enclose 4 in a set of parentheses. But if you have multiplications, additions and subtractions, other division, just multiple items in the numerator and denominator, play it safe, use your parentheses. All right, so let's try this problem again. I'm going to actually don't clear, because I want to see, I want you to be able to compare both answers. So don't clear. If you press clear, that's fine, don't worry about it. Let's try inputting this again. So I'm now going to say parentheses, and then 5 plus 3. I'm going to close the parentheses, and then I'm going to go divided by, and then I'm going to open the parentheses again. So open parentheses, and then don't forget it's negation, the negative 3 plus 7. I'm going to close parentheses. By the way, if you forgot to close parentheses at the very end, that's fine. The calculator is very forgiving. If the only thing that's missing in a line on a display screen is just the closing parentheses, the calculator will say, okay, I guess there's a parentheses at the end, and it'll close the problem for you. But that is a very bad habit. I want you to always close parentheses. Remember, you're my student now. I'm here to take care of you and make sure you know how to use this thing properly. So always close the problem. I'm going to press enter. Now I get a different answer, 2. And actually that is the correct answer. To input a square in the calculator, it's very, very easy. All you have to do is, let's say we would like to find, how about 4 squared? So 4 squared, all you have to do is type in the number 4, make sure your calculator's turned on and press the clear key. 4. Now look over here, above this key that says log, you see a little x squared. That is your squaring key. Now press that next. Now look carefully on your display screen, you'll see a rather large 4 and there's a 2 next to it. But see, that's not 42. That's 4 squared. The 2 is a little bit smaller and it's a little bit raised up a bit, meaning it's a power, it's an exponent. And then we're done. I don't want to do anything else in this problem. I just want to follow what's 4 squared. So I press the enter key and I get 16. Well, 4 squared was fine. I wanted 4 cubed, 4 to the 4th, 4 to the 5th power. How can I put those in the calculator now? Well, we're going to use a special function key. It's called the caret. No, not this caret. This caret. Now, it's located right above the division key. And let's actually do an example that uses both the squaring key and the caret. For this example, let's look at 9 squared minus 2 cubed. Let's put that in a calculator. So make sure the calculator's turned on, press the clear key. Yes, you're probably going to get sick of me saying that. But again, we're learning how to properly use the calculator. I want you to get used to it. Always press the clear key. Well, almost always, you know that. So let's input 9 squared minus, make sure it's the subtraction key, not the negation key. I'm subtracting. And then 2 cubed. So I press the 2. Now, I would like to tell the calculator, oh, I want to cube the 2. To do that, you now press the caret key. Press the caret key. Now, I won't always say press the caret key. I'm going to use the word power. I'm going to say 2 power 3. So whenever I say the expression 2 power 3, I've pressed the caret key. I might also say 2 exponent 3, because it's pretty much the same thing, powers or exponents. I'm finished entering this in the calculator, so now the next thing is I'm just going to press enter. Enter. And there's my answer. Now let's take a look at our next example. That kind of reminds me of me in the morning. Pretty nasty looking. Now, if you want to put that in the calculator, what should we do? Well, it's pretty easy, actually. You can almost type it in exactly what you see, but because we have rather elaborate numerators and denominators, my suggestion, like I said previously, is enclose the entire numerator with an extra set of parentheses and then enclose the denominator with an extra set of parentheses, like this. So now let's put that expression in the calculator. Make sure your calculator is turned on, press the clear key, and press the left parentheses or open parentheses key, and let's type in our expression. 1 power 5 plus 3 minus an open parentheses again, 2 times 3, and I'm going to square that. So press the X square key, and then close the parentheses. But again, we need to close parentheses another time because that encompasses the entire numerator. Now, a question we ask yourself, well, did we have to press the X square key after the 3? Could we just use the caret key again and then a 2? Sure, that's fine. But again, I'm lazy. Why press 2 keys when one will do? Now let's take care of the denominator. Press the division key, and again I want to enclose the entire denominator parentheses. I press the open parentheses again, and then 20 divided by 4 plus 2, close parentheses, and enter. The answer is -2. Now, oftentimes, when you get results in the calculator, it won't be just a whole number, it can actually end up being a decimal. But maybe you don't want it to look like a decimal. I want it to look like a fraction. How do we convert decimals to fractions? Well, it's actually pretty easy. Let's do an example. Go ahead and your calculator, press the on key if you have to clear, and we want to now input this expression. So you're going to have 2 plus 3 divided by 8. And of course, press enter. I get 2.375. Now to make that a fraction, what you need to do is look for the math key. Math key is on the left-hand side toward the top. It's right below the alpha key. Math. Now look at your display. There's a lot of information there. There's math, num, and a bunch of other stuff in there. Look what's already being highlighted, the math word and the number 1. And right next to 1 is a little arrow pointing to frac, which is short for fraction. That is your fraction conversion operation. So I want to select that. So you can either press enter or the number 1. My suggestion, just press enter because it's already being highlighted. So enter. Look at your display again. I see this really weird A, N, S, and then a little triangle thing, a little arrow thing, and frac. What in the world does that mean? Well, what that says is my previous answer that I just got on the display is going to be converted into a fraction. That's all what it means. So, but it's waiting for you to press enter to acknowledge, or maybe you want to add other things to this line. It doesn't know. So go press enter a second time. 19/8. Now again, it looks like 19/8, they're level with each other. Obviously on paper, I would recommend you write it like this or like this. The first one I think is the better way. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to use the answer I just got, but I want to add something to that. Now instead of typing in 19/8 all over again, you can just press the plus key. Go ahead, try that. Plus, and see, notice, answer, previous answer, popped up before the plus key. The calculator understands that, oh, if you just press the plus key right away, you should have the previous answer beforehand. And that's with all the arithmetic keys, the plus, the subtraction, multiplication, division. Now, let's add 7 to that. Press enter, and we get 9.375. Great. Let's make that a fraction. So press the math, and then enter, and enter again. Now, you're going to get tired of me saying this, but whenever we do fraction, I'm going to go math, enter, enter, math, enter, enter, math, enter, enter. Well, not 3 times in a row like that, but that's how the sequence of words I would use to represent, convert your previous answer into a fraction. Math, enter, enter. The next thing I would like to do is I want to input 20.025 and then subtract the answer I just got from the 20.025. How do we do that? See, I don't want the previous answer to appear first. I want the previous answer to appear afterwards. We'll go ahead and type in the 20.025 minus, press the subtraction key, not the negation key. And then I want to press the second and look at the very bottom of your display where the negation key is. There's an A and S just above it. So press the negation key, and lo and behold, you'll see A and S on the display. So that's how you can put the previous answer you just got, the previous number, result, value you just got afterwards in a math problem. In fact, if a problem appears multiple times in a problem, in a line, on a display, you can just go second answer several times and it'll just repeat the answer. It's kind of nice. But we won't do that with this problem. Go ahead and press enter, and there's your 10.65. Let's make that a fraction. Math, enter, enter. Okay, you get 213/20ths as an answer. The next thing I like to take care of is, well, what if I made a mistake? If I input something in the calculator, or if I want to just change something, one number to know, how can we do that? Well, it's actually pretty easy. Now I want to put that in the calculator first. Let's go ahead and clear your display. Type in -10 plus, and I want to type in 4 power, press the caret key, 3, and enter. I get 54. But let's say I don't want 4 cubed. I wanted 5 cubed. Let's pretend I made a mistake. I mistyped something. How do we, I can type the whole thing over again, but again, what if this was a test? And it's a time test, and every second counts. I don't want to type things unnecessarily over again if I can quickly just recover my previous entry. So to do that, notice the words I used, the previous entry. There is actually something called entry. It's an operation on the calculator. Where is it? Press the second function key and look at the enter key. Right above it, it says entry. That's what you're going to press. Hey, there's my -10 plus 4 power 3. Now, how do we change that 4 to a 5? Well, use your arrow keys and press the left arrow key a few times till it's right blinking on top of the 4. Now just type in 5. Now you don't have to move the cursor with the arrow keys to get out of that entry. You're fine where it's located. Now press enter. And you get 115. That was good. Let's do another example. For our next example, let's actually purposely put a typo in the calculator and see what happens. Let's try inputting 50 divided by 1,000. But before we press enter, I'm going to accidentally press the plus key. Let's try that. Press the clear key. It's going to be 50 divided by 1,000. But I'm going to press the plus key next. And now I'm going to press enter. Oh, look at the display. I see error, that stands for error, syntax, or syntax error, And then there's 1 says quit and 2 says go to. And what do we do next? What's the deal? Well, there's a couple of things. In fact, the calculus is giving you some options. You could, 1, just quit, just stop everything, just forget what you did and start all over again. Or 2, go to the entry line where the error occurred. And the calc will actually blink the cursor where it thinks the error actually occurred. So let's go ahead and use the go to option. So just press the number 2. 2. There's my display again, and it blinks right after the plus key. So it's thinking, well, there must be something plus some number. That's what it's guessing. Maybe you forgot to answer that. Well, no, I want to actually get rid of that plus key. So go ahead and use your left arrow key, so it's blinking exactly on top of the plus key. And I'll press the del for delete. It's actually right next to the left arrow key. Del. And it's gone. It's a good thing. So now press enter again, and hey, we get 0.05. And of course, just for the fun of it, let's make it a fraction. Math, enter, enter, hey, 1/20th. Let's practice some more editing. I want to now change the 50 that I just typed into a 500. And I don't want to type the whole thing over again. So I want to use previous entry. Let's go ahead and press second, and then the enter key for the entry, and I get the answer convert to fraction option. Well, I don't want that. I want the 50 divided by 1,000. Ugh. Well, it turns out if you keep pressing the second entry, second enter, second enter, it will go to each previous entry you had in the calculator. How many places? Well, it just depends. The memory capabilities, there's actually something in here called clear entries where it'll actually clear them all out and you can start fresh. But for now, just press it one more time. Second entry. Hey, there's my 50 divided by 1,000. And I want to change 50 to 500. So I'm going to move my cursor using the left arrow key until it's right above the division key. Now, I want to insert an extra 0. So I don't press 0 right away. If you did that, it'll override the division key. I don't want that. So you're going to go second, and then right above the del key is the INS for insert. Now look carefully at your display screen. The blinking little box now becomes a blinking underscore. Type in 0, and look what happens to the display. Everything gets scooted over. Now it's exactly how I want it, so I'm going to press enter, and there's your 0.5, which is what I want. And of course, once you have your 0.5, you can make that a fraction by going math, enter, enter. And of course, we kind of knew that was a half. Well, this concludes the first part in our series of how to really use your TI-84 graphing calculator. Everything we've learned so far is just the basics. We're just beginning. It applies to these calculators, but also scientific calculators in general. Now, the reason you have this bad boy, well, is because it's a graphing calculator. So for the second part, we're going to be learning some great graphing techniques.